What's good, y'all? It's Solution back at it with another mental gym video where I teach you guys frameworks that you can use to become extremely successful and achieve all of your goals. So let's get right into it, man. So today's framework is about sadness, which is actually very interesting because I never thought that like emotions can also get systematized basically, or you can even make a framework about emotions, but you can because sometimes, well, obviously this sadness is in the context of achieving goals because obviously I'm not going to speak to you guys about general emotions like anger, sadness. I mean, I'm trying to make sure you can use anything and everything as a way to become successful because in a way you actually can, it just takes time to think through it. So sadness. So the definition I came up with for sadness in terms of becoming successful is a perceived lack of options to achieve your goals. Because you see, on the path to becoming successful, guys, you will fail. You will fuck up. You will make mistakes. And you will feel like you're out of options, right? And because of that, what happens? We feel sad. We feel like, well, it's over. It feels hopeless. We feel depressed. And the reason why this is not a good thing, because sadness is a natural emotion. We feel sadness, happiness, or whatever. But the reason why people fuck up with the saddest thing is it causes them to not do anything. And that's where the problem comes in. Because in order to become successful, we have to do something. We can't not do anything. The only way for us to become successful, no matter how easy it is for us to be successful, is we have to do something. How hard or how easy, we have to be doing something. But the problem is, a lot of us, we get sad because we have a perceived lack of options, and that causes us to do nothing. Because we think, oh, well, it's over. That was my last option, so I just might as well be sad and depressed and whatever, just not do anything. And you're here because you don't want to be like that. You want to still be able to do something, which you can. You just haven't had the frame for figuring out how, if you haven't. Maybe some of you guys have, and this might be not new knowledge to you, or it might, who knows. Point is, this is why sadness is a bad thing in terms of achieving your goals, because you don't want to allow your sadness, or you don't want to perceive that you have a lack of options. Because if you believe you have a lack of options, that means you won't do anything. Because you do stuff when you feel like you have an option. So let's get rid of the lack of options. So basically, this is the framework I came up with for overcoming sadness and not feeling sad anymore. And I basically call it the S equation. So the S equation. S equation. So essentially, the S equation is made up of two parts that I've come up with. And the first one, which is probably the most important one, is accept. So what do I mean? And then plus, and then I'll tell you the next part in a second. But accept. So the thing is, when we believe there's a lack of options and we try something, and so let's say we try something and it doesn't work, and we fail, and we perceive that we have a lack of options. The thing is, a lot of guys get stuck in accepting that fact. So what that means is they can't accept that the universe has decided that they have a lack, because they have decided that the universe has decided that they have a lack of options. I know that sounded kind of like a mouthful. So let me explain better. So basically, we start complaining. We're like, what the hell, man? I should have done this. I could have done this. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. We start shoulda, coulda, woulda. We start complaining. We start making excuses. Oh, if my parents were just, better, if I've had more money, if I did this, blah, blah, blah. Like, we start complaining. We just start complaining because we feel hopeless. We feel depressed. We feel sad. So we start complaining. But the thing is, a lot of guys get stuck in this phase. They keep complaining perpetually. They are demanding the universe to listen to them. And let me tell you right now as a disclaimer, the universe does not give a fuck about what any of us want. It does not care. It does not care. Only we care about what we want. The universe and everybody else outside does not give a fuck. I guess some people might give a fuck if, they're in your values. Anyway, but the universe does not give a fuck. It does not care about what we want. But a lot of guys get stuck because they're so desperate for the universe to care about what they want and what they believe should be true and the way they should be able to achieve their goal or whatever. But I promise you guys right now, if that is the way you were thinking, like, oh, as long as I just keep complaining and keep saying shoulda, coulda, woulda, eventually something will change. I'm telling you right now, you are wasting your time. The universe does not care. Nobody cares. The only person who cares is you, and you are keeping yourself stuck because instead of doing something, you are doing nothing because you are sitting there complaining. Complaining has never helped anyone. And that is a belief that you need broken for yourself. I'm telling you right now. Complaining will do nothing for you. And if you believe that's not true, think about every single time you've complained. Has complaining ever fixed a problem for you? No. Has doing something fixed a problem for you? Yes. So boom, belief broken. Stop complaining. You have to accept the situation. So let's say you use your perceived last option. You use it and you fail. Well, the first thing you need to do is be like, well, I failed. It went wrong. I fucked up. I made a mistake. Period. It's wrong. Like, it's over. You fucked up. It's bad. It's fine. And it's okay. It's not bad. It's fine. You used your last option, but it's okay. You're like, you know what? That was my last option. I tried it. It didn't work. But then, the most natural question then comes, now what? Very good that you asked that. So, that leads into the second part of this equation, which is the no. Or I'll just continue. Knowledge. So, after you have accepted shit has went wrong, you've used your last option, obviously, you're like, what do I do now? I mean, it went wrong, cool. But now what? Because I still want the goal. Just because we use our perceived last option, it doesn't mean we don't still want to win. We don't still want to become extremely successful or whatever. We still want to win. So what do we do now? We have to gain more knowledge, more insight, more context. Because this is where I break another belief for you guys. To be honest, for everyone who has become successful, they have made an extreme amount of mistakes, regardless if they have admitted to it or not. Everyone who's become successful has fucked up a lot, has used their perceived last option. A lot of people, everyone, has used their perceived last option. So if they use their perceived last option, how did they still become successful? Because they increased their knowledge. Meaning, even though they used their perceived last option, they went and found new information. They went and got new context about their circumstances and realized, holy shit, I actually have way more options than I thought. And then what happens? They go and exercise the other options that they have. And when they exercise them and they use the improved knowledge that they have from making their previous mistakes, they eventually get to the point where they achieve their goal. Let me give you guys another example so this even makes more sense to make it simpler. So let's say you want a cookie from a cookie store, right? And you perceive the fact that there's only one road that you could use to get to those cookies. Only one road. So let's say that road, when you hop in your car, you drive, if you can drive. I mean, most of you guys who are watching my channel are probably in your early 20s or late teens. So most of y'all are driving. So you're driving down the road to the cookie store and you see a sign that says road closed for the foreseeable future. Road is closed. It will never be opened again. You're like, fuck. You feel sad or sadness because the goal you wanted to achieve was getting the cookies, but now you perceive that you lack options because this was the one road, because you believe this is the only road to get to cookie store. So you're like, fuck, man. You're like, you start going through the shoulda, coulda, woulda. You start complaining to the universe, like, universe, what the fuck? I really want cookies. It should be this way. It could be this way. It would be. You start doing the dumb shit. You start complaining, which is not doing anything, right? So let's say even you overcome that. Let's say you get to the first part of the S equation. You're like, you know what? I accept this. Road is closed. I'm fucked. It's over. The road is closed. Right. But the thing is, like I said earlier, even though we accept the situation, it doesn't mean we don't still want the goal. Because another mistake, actually I'll now add that in. Another mistake a lot of guys make is they accept and do nothing too. So a lot of you guys complain, you don't even get to the acceptance part, you do nothing, you're complaining. You accept and then you do nothing. You're like, it is what it is. And then you just sit there in your car for eternity thinking about the goal you wanted to achieve. So after you accept something, guys, you have to do something now. That's why I kind of filled in the question earlier by saying, what do I do now? right? But some of you guys don't even ask, what do I do now? You're just like, well, it's over. Don't do that, because then you can't achieve your goal and you don't even give yourself an opportunity, because there is an opportunity. So you're sitting in your car, you're like, what the fuck? And you see a guy pass you, or like he's turning his car around because the road is closed, and you say stop him. You're like, hey, where are you going? Don't you want cookies? Right? You go and seek knowledge because you're curious. And then he's like, bro, this is not the only road to the cookie store. This is not the only road to the cookie store. There's 18 other roads you can actually use. I can show you here on Google Maps. And then belief broken. Because you went and got new knowledge and new context, you now know there's 18 other roads that you can use to get to the cookie store. So what happens? Your sadness fades. Your perceived lack of options is gone. You have now been given you've now accepted the road, this road that you're on is not working, and now you've been given new knowledge that you can now use to achieve your goal. You have 18 other roads you can take. And this sadness goes from happiness and excitement real quick, because now you have options. And when you have options, when it comes to achieving your goals, you feel extremely happy, because you're like, thank God, bro, I can do all this shit now. So basically, you then plug into your phone another road, and let's say we're not finished yet, there's more. You take one of the other roads, the road is closed. Now, this time, there is no sadness, because you have options. So even if this option goes wrong, you just go try the other one. And then that one goes wrong, you try the other one. And then you keep trying until you realize you can fly a plane to the cookies. But point is, you get the point. When you have options, you can't feel sad anymore. And if you want options, and if you feel sad right now, on the road to achieving your goals, if you feel like, fuck, man, right now, what you need to do is first accept it. Accept the fact that whatever option you had, or the last option you thought you had, has failed. It's fucked. It's over. Accept that shit, even though it is hard. But who said becoming successful was easy, right? But even though it was hard, you accept that shit. You're like, okay, this is what it is. Now what? Now you must seek out new knowledge. You must learn. There's something you don't know. You are just ignorant. Because as I also said earlier, right, there is a ton of ways to achieve your goals. That no one who has become successful went in a straight line. It was like this. It was crazy. Because they fucked up, thought that was their last chance, and they learned something new. And as long as there's a will, there's a way. That quote is very real. It's true. As long as you believe, as long as you have the will to achieve the goal, you can find a way. The only way you guarantee you will not achieve a goal, right, is by doing nothing, by staying sad, by staying depressed, by continuing to believe for the rest of your life you have no more options. And a lot of guys end up doing this. They look back in their lives and they regret not looking for new knowledge, right? So boom. You have to go seek out new knowledge once you've accepted it. Accept it. Don't just accept it. Accept it and then look for something new. Look for a new option. And then you do that by seeking out knowledge. But you're like, next question. Well, where do I get new knowledge from? And this gets back to my favorite framework and what will probably be a really famous framework on this channel now, which is you refer to your value circle. And what is your value circle for those of you who don't have not watched the video? So your value circle is essentially people who have achieved what you want, or people who want to achieve the same thing as you, or the best version of this, people who have achieved what you want and you can work with them. And you want to have as many of these people in your circle as possible, because when you get sad, when you believe you have a perceived lack of options to achieve your goals, right? You can now accept this situation and then seek out new knowledge. And you seek that knowledge out from your value circle. From the people who know and have information and can breathe life and context and options into your head, so you no longer feel sad and you actually feel happy and excited because you realize, holy shit, I have a ton of options. I can fuck this up and I have another option, right? And then no matter what, as long as you have the will and you keep looking for options, I promise you, you will win. You will win. But the only way you can guarantee you lose is by being sad and not accepting things and complaining and deciding to do nothing. Because you only lose when you do nothing. The people who move have an opportunity. The people who don't move have none. And I know you want to be in the category of people who always have an opportunity. So boom. So you refer to your value circle. One more time. You accept it. The S equation is you accept the situation. You accept the situation. You ask yourself, okay, now what? You seek out new knowledge. From who? From your value circle. And then you keep going through this phase. If you ever feel sad, because I guess when you even have this framework now, you can't feel sad because you always know you have an option, because you do. But if you ever feel sad, then you just now know, you just use this simple frame. You're like, well, first I need to accept the situation. Okay, cool, I accept it. So what knowledge do I need? You get rid of your ignorance. You go find knowledge. I'm telling you, bro, this works. It's worked for me so well. Like, whenever I felt sad and it felt like I'm out of options, the first thing I had to do was like, man, I fucked up, right? And then cool. And then I seeked out more knowledge from my value circle, from people who achieved what I want, from people who want to achieve the same thing as me, from people who achieved what I want and I could work with them. I asked them. And they were able to breathe that life and confidence into me that I could still be able to achieve my goals. So boom, that is pretty much how to overcome sadness in a nutshell. And that is pretty much the frame or the equation I use in order to think through it and overcome it. And I hope that you guys can also use it to overcome any sadness that you feel, because I know achieving goals is hard and it was never meant to be easy, right? But when you have these frameworks at your disposal, you will never be sad. You won't be stagnant either, because the thing with sadness, if you can go through this loop really fast, you'll never feel sad. What does that mean? You will get to your goals sooner. But people get stuck in these sadness loops and depression loops and hopelessness loops that they get stuck. You probably already know people in your own life who are like that if it is not already you. So don't let it be you. And if you have someone who's your homie, share them this video so they can use this framework and overcome their sadness, right? Cool. So yeah, with that being said, that pretty much take care of sadness. Please let me know. Give me feedback. Did this work? Is this helpful? Did I explain it well? Was it too complicated? Was it simple as possible? Blah, 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 blah. Just give feedback so I can improve as a YouTuber and drilling this information into your head so you guys can better be able to achieve whatever goals that you are after. And of course, please like the video so it can get boosted in the algorithm. More people can see this and achieve all the goals and dreams and ambitions that they are after. So yeah, with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.